I think it was a good one for the physical riders, as you saw. Like in the men's, you had two enduro guys get into the finals through Q1. So I think it was one of the more physical races we've had for quite a while overall.
Yeah, and the rain and the mud just adds to that, and it's not that much gradient, so the physicality
Yeah,
just goes up. You make a mistake, you've
yeah,
got to fight in your mind even harder. But as you said, you're probably not going to get it back anyway. So
yeah,
yeah, it's brutal. Just compounds, mud. This would have been a good track for Mr. Greg Minnaar. I'll tell you that for free. In his
for
in
sure.
his
Yeah,
prime, he was methodical and had the power. He would have crushed down the bottom. So it would have been. That's quite ironic. He probably would have done quite well.
he probably could have still dusted off the boots and done quite well anyway if he'd
Yeah,
have
fair enough. If he
done a couple
got
weeks of
into the
training.
final, though, he might have been a bit slow to
Mm.
start and have to
Yeah,
deal
you
with
can't
the pressure.
can't be slow to start anymore.
No, you can't, man. Like you said, the strategy is going to change from all the top riders. It's probably just
Yeah,
go as hard as you can in Q1, and if you happen to come uncropper like Amaury Perron, well, then you're
mm.
in Q2, and it just is what it is. So, over to
Yeah,
the men. I mean, we start at the top. Loic Bruni. I mean, you would have forgiven him if he wasn't quite on his A game, coming in with what he mentioned, like a few of these nuisance injuries that kept him off the bike. And
mm.
there's a guy that between Loris and Loic, the way they speak about their riding, it's like they think they're going to get 35th. And that's what makes him good, man. It's just like not getting too cocky, not getting too complacent, like just methodical. And Loic, what a clinical performance.
Yeah.
Just Q1
Well,
winner,
yeah,
wins the race in arguably the crappiest conditions. Well, the men, it just went up and down, right, with vision, it seemed. And
yeah,
like it got peanut buttery there for a time. And yeah, just it was very, I think we've done this before, like in a rain race where we go, it's half six of one, half a dozen other one to decide
yeah.
which conditions were worse.
Well, I don't know. I'd say there were no good conditions for the men. I wouldn't want to be Loic starting last, but neither would I want to be Dom Platt starting first. And when when he started, there was like the snow was settling a little bit on the ground, so then he lost a little bit of the tire tracks and that, and then he didn't know how to approach that either. So either or are both quite bad. So
Yeah, but
um,
I mean, Amiri
yeah,
went super early, hey? I mean, he
yeah,
was second, third off, or what? If he was
yeah,
eight, what was
yeah.
he in Q2? Okay, maybe
Um,
not.
yeah,
He
he
was
was pretty
quite
early though
near.
on
Where's
the
this?
start list.
He was
Yeah,
pretty early. Anyway, it's pretty
yeah,
relevant because he got down. Bro, that
yeah.
sector he put down 3 and 4. I was like, is anyone
Well,
ever going to get close to this?
he's just a powerhouse as well. So Armory gave it everything and is probably, I would imagine him and Richie Rude would be the two most powerful people, and they were pretty close together in that sector. So,
And then
um,
Loic is the sneaky assassin, probably just as powerful.
yeah,
But
yeah, yeah, without
you
anyone
don't
knowing.
notice it. You just don't notice it because he's
Yeah,
just so smooth and like methodical,
yeah,
eh?
yeah, and his bike's completely dialed in. He's got that new bike, but he's from what speaking to Finn, it sounds like Loic's done a lot more work on that new bike than Finn has. So he's got that thing pretty dialed in, I think, and it seems to be working pretty well. To win both of those, he normally would have maybe previously in the past struggled with confidence in that final with the conditions like that.
True.
But now he's an all round rider and he can win in any condition, which he already could, but maybe even more so now. So I think it'll only take like some sort of issue this year for Loic to get knocked down a bit, but that could happen at any moment in downhill. But I think he's on top of the game right now.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
he did prepare well, and he's obviously got a lot of time. But he did have a few of those blocks that he missed. But it might have like motivated more to do more runs when he was able to. So you can
mm,
catch things up a little bit. But this will definitely help the confidence. Like I do, as I say, he speaks outwardly he's quite humble and like yeah, I'm
yeah,
feeling pretty good. Hope I've got speed. I'm doing my thing. Bike's good. and then he delivers. I think he internally believes he can deliver in the wet. Like he's kind of used to speak that he wasn't confident in the wet, but it's like he's shown us last year he
Yeah,
can perform, and now first race, his confidence is going to be high for him for the series, and talking
yeah.
about going after record book wins, he's like, oh, it's cool that I've
Yeah.
got, my idol's podium record or tied it, but it's not one I'm after.
Yeah, well, now there's more races, so it will be easier to reach some of those record book uh, win streaks if you really go on a streak and have a good
Yeah, if you go
season.
on a streak.
Yeah.
Yeah, Greg said that. He's like, I think people could beat the record, and I was like, I don't know if everyone's going to race as long as you did, Greg. However, he has a point, and if Loic gets to the point that like, well, winning secures the title the easiest way, because I feel in the past the reason he's got less World Cup wins, he's up to 10 now, if I stand to be corrected, is because he gets in these title hunts, and then
Mm.
consistency will win that title near the end of the season. You don't see him throwing it away going for a win.
Yeah, it's probably one of the very few riders who could manage a title hunt and have a mechanic on the or staff member on the side of the track telling you how you're doing at the time, and then manage that information and deliver a race run like that. Like I imagine there's been quite a lot of races where he could have just gone and won them, but he's managed the race to get the result that he needs to get for the title chase, and that's
Yeah,
pretty mental.
yeah, he manages the race, and Burrell was saying that he sometimes probably shouldn't have pushed as hard because it wasn't a course that suited him, and he crashed out. And Loic maybe
Mm,
sometimes knows, okay, well, fourth is a really good result for me this week, and he
mm,
doesn't let him affect him and go for something more. But the
yeah.
Irish were exciting. Ronan Dunn was on pace but crashed out, but
Hmm.
his countryman sure delivered. I mean, he almost
Yeah.
took the win. He's zero point 0.1 off. Ocean.
Yeah, it was insane, insane, and I think, yeah, he had really fast sector in the very last sector because Loic was losing time to him, but then he still had maybe point 0.6, I think, and then Ocean was half a second quicker in that last sector. And I would say that Ocean was probably one of the only ones in that final that were on dry tires. He just ran standard Cryptotels rather
Come
than
again?
Argotels. He was on dry tires
Why? What?
because
I
that's
wasn't
what he
even going to
rides in
ask you
Ireland.
about tires.
Yeah, he rides in Ireland. He rides dry tires, so he just ran them in the final. It's like,
No, you're taking the piss.
no, he had Cryptotels on, and then like Colby and the other Conti riders, quite a few of them went to the Hydrotel, which is like extreme mud tire. Like it's one of the most extreme ones.
Yeah, I would think
And then
that's what you
yeah,
do in the mud. Yeah, normally right
yeah.
win.
But there's a Argotel as well, which is like intermediate, and it's quite a good tire in the wet too. So not often, even as a Conti rider, that you'd use Hydrotels. But those guys were on them, and then you've got Ocean second in the race on the dry tire, which is mental.
And he did good from split 3 to split 4.
Yeah,
He was similar. He pulled back similar sort of time that Amri did to Loic.
yeah,
Like Loic just came
prob-
out the gas and just smashed everything, but you can see
yeah.
the little diagram here that Ocean pulls back there. So Amri with the
Maybe the
power and Ocean
rolling
with the
speed as well.
rolling
Yeah.
speed was pretty
Mm.
impressive.
But then to turn on dry tires is like pretty gnarly when it gets that wet. You've got
It is in my mind, but clearly
yeah,
not for him. But his approach is quite stark to Ronan Dunn. Ronan Dunn's like to me the McGregor of downhill
yeah,
in a weird
yeah,
way, and Ocean's just like quietly goes about his business. Freaking
yeah,
boom. He's won a
yeah.
World Cup before and slots himself into second here, and he's had other great results and super exciting. I like seeing him do well. It's really cool.
Yeah, well, it sets him up for a pretty good season now if he's going to go on a bit of a roll as well. Like he's maybe not ever started the season so strong, so that's going to be exciting to see if he can keep that going all year. Then he could be dangerous, I think, for the
Yeah, for
title
sure.
if he does that. Yeah, Like he's got a good shot at it now. Like
Yeah,
he said
that's
it.
fair. I mean, you don't always put him in
Yeah,
like a title hunt conversation, but that doesn't mean he couldn't. You know, it just hasn't happened
yeah.
before, and
I think
and,
he's
and
had
that
enough
often
years to learn. Maybe.
definitely, yeah. No, he's got good group of good team around him. I know his dad that's influential role as well. So that's true. Let's hope we've got enough of these guys that stay in the title hunt. You know, and it's not just a 2 horse race. Couple people,
Yeah,
10 race series. We haven't seen it for a while. Consistency
yeah,
is going to pay off. But if you can
yeah,
rack a win or two, you jump ahead in points big time, and then a few key guys, you know, Loris
yeah.
and Jackson that we thought could be in the title hunt, but they've got some work to do now.
Oh, yeah. But then that will be the interesting one for Ludenville if those guys can come back and make it happen. Like, there's going to be, I'm sure they're getting to work this next week before Ludenville to try and fix whatever they need to and be ready for the next one.